Yeah.
I'm gonna miss that theme when at the end of the season. That's the Super Bowl's done.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Oh, it's a great one. Welcome everyone to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts, and to my right is a man who is down with the sickness, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself? I'm ready to talk some football. I can't believe the season is over. We got a lot to break down.
I would paraphrase in the words of the great John Facenda. The oh crap. How did he phrase it? Well, I'll talk about it in just a second. But yeah, I'm doing all right. I mean, week 18 is come and gone. Everything's just been decided in terms of playoffs. We're going to talk about all of it tonight. Uh, okay, I remember the quote now. Perhaps the best thing about the 2025 New York Jets season is that it's over.
Oh yeah, yes.
But he said about the 1976 New York Jets, who were just as god awful. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the rest of Week 18. What stood out to us. We'll also break down Black Monday. Black Mondays come, and I know some of the firings will come later in the week, but Black Monday is always a thing in the NFL. Has been for quite some time. We'll talk about the firings and that happened today and yesterday too. We had the firings yesterday, so we'll talk about that in just a moment. We also got some comments in the comment section coming in as well on our live stream. We're going to get to all those in just a moment, but we just want to remind you, please follow us. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You can also check out other podcasts and our written content at bellyupsports.com. I almost messed up there. And subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and our host, which is Podbean, Freshly Brewed Podcasts. Hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube so you know when the show goes live, when there's general announcements, and when there's show clips that go up. I make up a few things from this episode and put them on our YouTube channel later, because this program will be replayed tomorrow morning on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. So you don't want to miss it there. Hit the notification bell and subscribe to the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel as well. Hit the notification bell with them as well. Got some content, got some great shorts that came up today, especially after some things that transpired with the New York Giants. We'll discuss that too, but that'll be later on in the show. On the podcast side, rate, review, comment, leave a rating, leave a 5-star rating, review on platforms such as Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Good Pods, and comment. Leave a comment in the comment section on the Spotify side. Also, leave a comment in the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel tomorrow. What was your favorite thing about Week 18? Is it your favorite team going in the playoffs? Is it the fact that the season's over? Because we got a mean comment in the comment section from Wonko. I'll address in just a second.
Oh, man, yeah.
And also,
sometimes you have seasons like that. Every team goes through it.
Yeah, I know. I've had too many of them as a Jets fan. Anyway, we are a live show. Usually we're live on Tuesdays at 6:30, but today is Black Monday in the NFL. I wanted to have a show tonight. We're also live Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And we want you to interact with us during the show. Interact with us in the comments section. And Dustin, I know today's Monday, and people got a wicked case of the Mondays. But this chime always makes us feel so much better.
Oh, whether it's Monday time or Tuesday time, it's always a good time for chime time.
Yeah. We got a comment in the comments section already at 6 a.m. Oh my goodness. From my buddy Dan. I'm sure it's my buddy Dan from formerly of Just Embrace the Suffering. He says, Woody, sell the team, you bum.
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I said, I bet I know which Dan that is.
Yep. I'm not sure if he's watching, but if he is, Dan, jump in the comments. I got some stuff to say about the Jets a little bit later on. Dan, your cohort from Seahawks Session, saying, greetings, gents. I'm not going to read the other comment. Julie from Michigan jumping in, saying, hello, gentlemen. Wonka the Sane from joining us from the Midwest saying, let's go. Geno Smith to Sam Donald proves one thing. Don't get drafted by the Jets. That was a mean comment. It's mean. Mean, but it's also true.
Oh, man.
Says, sorry, Ryan. I'm still mad about the Jets beating Cincinnati. Hey, be mad. Be mad. And if you want, I'll give you a cape. You can be super mad.
Right. Yeah.
And Dan chiming in saying, Pete Carroll getting fired gives me validation once again. Okay, all right, calm down. Okay, calm down, Dan. This is not about you. This is about no credentials required.
It's true, but my main Dan, which I'm gonna use that as his nickname now. He'll love it. He likes to almost throw his shoulder out of socket, patting himself on the back for being right about Pete Carroll. I've mentioned it on various shows. This one and Seahawks sessions, by the way.
Yeah, you gotta watch that shoulder. You gotta set it back in place, patting your own shoulder. Pat yourself in the back.
Yeah.
But we're gonna start off with our game of the year of the week in the NFL. And I know Dustin's champing at the bit to get his game of the year of the week out of the way. So I'm gonna let him start. What was your game of the year of the week?
Well, there really weren't that many games to choose from for this week, and I had a feeling that you were going to pick the game that I was looking at picking because it was one of the most surprising games on the slate. But then Sunday night happened, and I said, all right, no problem. What is it about divisions with teams that don't seem to want to step up and take that division? We've seen it in the South. There's been some classics. I mean, the Bucks-Panthers game came down to the wire, a missed field goal, and foreshadowing the game that I'm going to talk about also came down to a missed field goal. But you're going to hear some things from me throughout the episode that say maybe it's not down to just Tyler Loop's leg. But I spoiled it, everybody. I am talking about the Steelers versus the Ravens. This game was the textbook definition of the newly minted JR effect. Because for most of this game, neither offense could really get it going. Derrick Henry got it going. Derrick Henry had it again. So I had it going again. I can't call out John Harbaugh for his usage. But Derrick Henry's opening run was undone by a horrible illegal block call. His 26-yard run down the sideline was undone. The NBC referee consultant, was it Terry? I think I can't remember his last name. He said it was a bad call, and I agree. When you're heading towards the opponent's sideline, it's not an illegal downfield block, everybody. But anyway, the Ravens did score first anyway with a touchdown to Devontae Walker, and then it became a battle of the field goals. As I said, this game would get going late. The Ravens led 10-3 at the half. The Steelers tried to score before the half on a sweep to Gainwell. What was that call? I mean, man, hiring Arthur Smith, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. He's confounded. Falcons fans would like to write the Steelers fans letters of understanding, I'm sure, because they know. But the Steelers would tie the game on a tush-push TD, which was a little far out for my taste, but they got it in there. I think it was Hayward that got across the goal line on that one. But then Lamar Jackson, who did not have a great game, everybody. He was only 4 for 8 in the game at the point when this happened. He threw a interception because his pass was deflected by Hayward and recovered by Watt, picked off by Watt, which then led to a Boswell field goal. But then JR made his presence felt because Lamar responded to this with his best throw of the night, I think, for a TD to Zay Flowers, who was way behind the defense. He was wide open. Where were you, Jalen Ramsey, on that one? But this is foreshadowing because it would happen again. The Steelers, it's like both these teams who kind of looked terrible offensively. Let's call it what it is. Both of them then started picking it up. The Steelers responded with a touchdown by Gainwell, which was set up by a long completion to Pat Freiermuth. And then after that, Zay Flowers got behind the Steelers defense again for another long touchdown. But don't worry, could either defense stop the other at this point? No, because Calvin Austin was on the receiving end of a touchdown from Aaron Rodgers. But then Boswell, the normally reliable Chris Boswell, missed the extra point. I don't think he had missed one all season up to that point. The Ravens then tried to drive down the field to tie the game up because the mixed extra point would loom large because the Ravens could win the game, on a field goal, and Lamar was able to get them in position to do it despite not having a great game. But Tyler Loop hooked it when the announcers on cue, Mike Tirico, was saying, oh, the Ravens interviewed kickers around the country because they wanted to find the right guy after the Tucker release. They wanted to find the right guy that could handle the pressure, and Tyler Loop's up to that task, and Tyler Loop hooked the kick. The Steelers are the AFC North champions. This game was crazy, but business really didn't pick up until the fourth quarter.
And here's the sad part about Tyler Loop's missed field goal. Apparently, he had to shut down his Instagram.
Yeah.
Because people, and this was after his engagement announcement with his fiance, and people were giving him death threats. They were awful. Why? It's a football game. Stop.
Yeah. It's a football game.
It's a freaking football game, okay? There are more important things to worry about in this world. Like your immediate family, your pets, your friends. Like there are more important things to worry about than an outcome of a football game.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the 2004, and I'm going to go back to the CFL for comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Paul McCallum missed a chip shot field goal that would have sent the Saskatchewan Roughriders, or as our friend D. Willie, I hope he's watching right now. Congratulations on the job. First day in the job today, where he says, the Saskatchewan Roughriders missed a chip shot field goal in the Western Final against the BC Lions. And he had all sorts of threats made against him. People were dumping manure on his lawn. Like they knew where he lived, and they dumped manure on his lawn, which caused him to basically sign with the team that they beat that beat Saskatchewan in the Western Final, and he wound up finishing his career with them. So, and actually went up winning a Grey Cup in 2011. So, but like, come on, people, be smarter when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, he missed a field goal, a chip shot field goal. Okay, not chip shot field goal. I mean,
it was 47 yards, I think, 47, 41, somewhere in there.
And I guess the peculiar thing is that before the game, a priest had poured some holy water on the field. I think in that particular end zone where Loop was kicking, and that's how he missed the field goal. And what do you want to call it? Providence, coincidence, whatever, fate, whatever you want to call it. Something's going on at Acrisure Field or Heinz Field or whatever you call it now.
Yeah, and I mean, I couldn't echo your sentiments more, Ryan. I mean, it harkens back. I wasn't old enough to really remember this, but I remember watching documentaries about Bill Buckner. He and his family had to leave. They had to leave Boston because of, he had an error. It happens, and he got death threats. He got the whole nine. And if you want, first of all, like Ryan said, perspective is key. It's a football game. Okay. Do we care? Yes. We wouldn't be doing this podcast if we didn't care, but it's a football game. Don't let it affect your life, and be a good human being. If you want a blueprint on how to lift somebody up after something like that happens, go back and look at how the Bills fans treated Scott Norwood after he missed that field goal in the Super Bowl.
Come on. Hey, if you want to throw shade at somebody, throw it at us for picking Baltimore to go to the Super Bowl, okay?
Yeah.
We also picked your Orioles to go to the World Series, too. So if you want to throw shade at anybody, throw shade at us.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, man. I will not be visiting Baltimore anytime soon.
As
much as I want to, and I wanted to see our boy Eric Arditi from Barstool and go to a game at Camden Yards. Then again, nobody who watches this program is not going to know that we picked the Baltimore Ravens and the Orioles. Come on.
Yeah.
But yes,
who knows?
be a better human being. Come on.
You know, there's like one guy out there. There's one guy, Joe, and he's like, those guys. I can't do the accent.
I can't do Baltimore accent. I work on that. But he's like Steve Buscemi and Billy Madison. He's got that list of people, and
he circled us. But I'm circled twice because I
twice. So he put on lipstick and sitting in his bed.
Yeah.
Or lying in his bed. Excuse me.
Those guys picked the Oreos. I can't do it.
We gotta work on it. All right, so here we go. For the off season, we gotta work on our accents.
Yeah,
we gotta work on. All right, my game of the year of the week was actually a game that I didn't really have on my radar. Colts Texans.
Yeah,
this game was full of surprises. The Texans still had something to play for. They were playing for the AFC South. They're also playing for a higher wild card positioning. Whether if they had not won the South, the Colts still gave the Texans everything that they had. I mean, they had some trickeration in the first quarter. They did 2 fake punts in a row. Or what they did was that they had Rigoberto Sanchez complete a pass on a fake punt to Mo Alley Cox. On the very next play, they kept the same unit on the field, and it drew a too many men on the field penalty for the Texans. Great. I that's fun. It's just, you got nothing to play for. You might as well have some fun. But I also got to give credit to Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard played a heck of a game in this game. His first NFL start, he went 21 of 34 for 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Favorite target on the day was Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce had 4 receptions for 132 yards and those 2 touchdowns that I mentioned that Riley Leonard threw, but he was ejected in the third quarter after an egregious call by a referee for, and I'm putting in air quotes on the audio side, bumping into the referee, to which I say, audit the refs.
Yeah.
It's time. It's time to audit the refs, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But that was a huge thing because at that time the Colts were getting under the Texans. The Texans only played CJ Stroud. They played most of their starters on offense and defense for only a half, which kind of made the difference in this game because the Colts were given the Colts were still having their starters start. Like most of their starters who are healthy, who are playing in the game, and Alec Pierce up until his ejection, they were still playing because at that point, at the half, they kind of knew the situation in Jacksonville because the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans were playing, and Jacksonville was up 31-7 at the half, and there's no way they were taking their foot off the gas pedal in that game because they knew it was on the line too. They were going to win the South, so it didn't matter. It didn't matter in terms of the division
seeding or division,
but they still had to play for a playoff seed. And again, a good portion of the Texans defensive starters as well, they were checking out at halftime. And again, the Colts were giving the Texans a business, but you had Davis Mills come in and he led the Texans down the field for the game-winning field goal. Colts had 8 seconds left on the clock, and they were playing keep away or lateral, whatever you want to call it, to try to win the game. But that resulted in a thick 6. I love me a thick 6. Tommy Togiai's first NFL touchdown came on a fumble recovery, a rumble and stumble, a scoop and score for his first career touchdown, which made the score 38-30. At the end of the game, Texans earn the 5 seed, and they become the 5th team since 1990 to start the season 0-3 and make the playoffs. They also become the first team to accomplish this feat twice because they also did it in 2018. But let's get back to the refs for a moment. You mentioned a terrible call on Derrick Henry's run. Your brother from another mother, just a little darker skinned.
Yes.
And Alec Pierce's disqualification, not to mention that DPI call on Tetroa McMillan in the Panthers game against the Buccaneers. He had he got called for an offensive pass interference. I should say, not DPI, an OPI, where he clearly just he shoved his defender away within the 5-yard box that you're allowed to go in to be in. Had a huge gain in that game that could have brought the Panthers back into the game, and got called for OPI. And the ridiculous rules analyst that ESPN had, what a freaking dope that guy was. He's like, he says, yeah, that was the correct call because the defender had his back turned to the defender, and this, I can't remember what exactly he said, but what dopey defense of that OPI. To which I said, look, players are subject to the rules in terms of sportsbook. Are the referees also subject to these same rules? Because remember, last year, we had that story come out with that umpire in Major League Baseball who got suspended for having a sports book. And he said, I had no outcome. There was no decision on the outcome of the games, which I umpired for those games, but still you're subject to those rules. I have to wonder, and again, tinfoil hat moment. I apologize for the tinfoil hat, but I have to wonder out loud if it's time to do a proper audit of the NFL refs, do an audit to see if any of these officials, if they have any sportsbook accounts on their phones. And this also, again, makes me want the NFL to hire full-time officiating. This needs to be full-time officiating. They can't be this part-time crap anymore, where these officials have part-time. They do this part-time because they have full-time jobs. They're accountants, they're school teachers, they're full-time parents or whatnot. No, the NFL makes billions upon billions of dollars every single year. Pay the refs to be full-time officials. Have them be subject to audits.
Yeah.
Every single game. After every single game, make sure that there's nothing on their phones that indicates they're part of a sports book or they're making bets on NFL games, period. Like, this has to stop.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been clamoring, deservedly so, for years now, that there should be some sort of retirement pool for former NFL players who, especially those who have suffered injuries at the hands of the NFL while playing in the NFL. There should be some sort of insurance pool or thing of that nature. And you hit the nail on the head. The other thing that people have said, you need full-time referees, and it's ridiculous with the amount of money that the NFL makes. It is a cash cow. It is a money printing machine. It probably makes more money than some countries' GDPs. Okay. And you're telling me you can't scrape off some of that for full-time referees? Pay the referees a respectable salary, and also train them up so that they don't have to do a full-time job. Give them the entire off season to prep and be ready for these games.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We also had another call in last night's game where a Steelers player was called for roughing the passer, and he was tripped.
Yeah,
as early as in the first quarter, and again, a missed call by the referee as a 30-yard swing, as Mike Tirico had said. It was a 30-yard swing. It could have been a 15-yard penalty for tripping. Instead, it turns into a 15-yard penalty for roughing the passer when the defensive player was clearly tripped into the legs of Lamar Jackson. So yeah, audit the refs, NFL. Come on, none of this. Enough of this. All right, which brings us to our biggest upset of Week 18. I'm going to start off here with the Lions and the Bears. I know Julie from Michigan is happy with the last game of the year. I picked the Bears to win, unfortunately. She called me out on another Discord for it. It's like, why did they pick the Bears, Ryan? I'm like, because they had something to play for. That's why. But yeah, coming into this game, the Bears had something to play for. They had the 2 seed to play for because they were still tied with the Eagles for the 2 seed. Lions season ended on Christmas Day, but they were looking to how do I say this? Take the piss out of the Bears for the long-time division rival. And yes, I'm using a British colloquialism. Shush. The Lions came out swinging, particularly Jared Goff, trying to make up for the terrible game he had on Christmas Day. And they came out swinging. They had a 16-point lead going into the fourth quarter. And for some reason, Caleb Williams, he seems to wake up in the fourth quarter. And he almost led the Bears. Actually, I would say he did lead the Bears to an amazing comeback. Because the Bears not only scored 2 touchdowns, but they made both 2-point conversions to tie the score at 16. And not only did that happen, on the Lions' next possession, the Bears took it away. Had yet another takeaway. They lead the league in takeaways. Got another takeaway. They couldn't do any. Unfortunately, they couldn't do anything with it because on second down, Caleb Williams committed an intentional grounding penalty, which lost it down, 10-yard penalty, and it resulted in a 3-and-out. Lions get the ball back. Jared Goff leads them down the field, and by Jared Goff, I mean Jahmyr Gibbs, who got a couple of carries to help the Lions keep the momentum going. And that led to Jake Bates kicking a 42-yard field goal at the death to end the Lions season on a high note. That game really didn't matter because the Eagles wound up losing to the Commanders in Philadelphia 24-17 in those ultra clean throwback jerseys, man.
Yeah.
They got to switch to those full time.
They're nice.
They're sweet. They're sweet. And the gray end zones, oh, so good. So good. But here's the thing. The Eagles rested most of their starters. The Commanders still had whatever team they had put together with silly putty, bubble gum, and Gorilla Glue for the rest of the season. Yeah. And Josh Johnson, I mean, if this is his last game, way to go, Josh Johnson, leads the Commanders to a win. But this makes me wonder. The Eagles resting most of their starters when they know the 2 seed is on the line. Does resting your players in week 18, is it worth it anymore?
Oh, I don't. For this one, it was particularly, and we're going to get to another team that pulled a lot of their starters, and my whole thing was why. Because they had nothing to play for. This was the last game. I would have finished on a high note. But for the Eagles, I went over to my friend Derek's house to watch some football, and his fiance is an Eagles fan. And she's like, why isn't Jalen in the game? Where's A.J. Brown? And I turned to her. I said, to be honest with you, I have no idea. I have no idea because they could still get the 2 seed. I don't know why they didn't start these people.
The Broncos played their starters. Yeah. The Patriots played their starters because they knew they had a number 1 seed. They both had the number 1 seed on the lines. Whoever won it depended on who won or lost that game. Broncos wound up winning because the Chargers, they rested Justin Herbert. Yeah. He's going to be playing against the Patriots next week, which I have a feeling about that game. But we'll wait till Saturday for that game. And the Broncos still played the majority of their starters throughout the game. Mm-hmm. And they won that game. Now they're the number 1 seed, and they earned the bye. So, yeah, if it matters, why you rest most of their starters? I mean, the Bears didn't. Yeah, they played their starters, almost won the game. Again, it would have been if the Eagles had still lost, it would have been inconsequential. But still, I mean, I'm confused at some of the decisions made by some of the coaches this week.
Yeah, I mean the Eagles are to me one of the better examples that you hit on, Ryan, because they didn't rest all their starters, but they rested. Right. If I was Devonta Smith, I would take this as a message because they rested Dallas Goedert, they rested AJ Brown, they rested Jalen Hurts, and Devonta Smith was out there. He was the only one out there, and he played a lot of that game because I watched it. They did end up benching him, if memory serves, at one point, but he played a lot of that game. So then you're like, okay, it's enough you don't want me to get rest? I would develop a complex about it, but maybe that speaks more to me about me than that. But I don't I am either, if you're going to rest them all. If you're not going to, if you're going to do this half measure, play everybody. Do something, at least play everybody for a half and then rest. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, I was perplexed that they didn't rest more starters than they did. But the difference is the Bills got a lot of injuries. They had to field the team, you know.
Josh Allen played one play, and that was it. That was it. And that's the thing. Like, does it really count as your consecutive start streak going if you play only one play and you get taken out?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah,
at least a series or a quarter.
I guess so.
Anyway, but that's my biggest upset of Week 18. Dustin, which was yours?
There really wasn't a big one to pick, because a lot of teams were doing a half measure or a full measure. But I picked the Giants beating the Cowboys, mostly because I thought the game would be more competitive. I didn't realize that Dallas was going to rest as many of their starters as they did. Why did they pull them? They are a textbook example.
They had to play for.
Yeah, they had nothing to play for. Empty the tank. You know, at least allow your team to build some positive momentum towards next season. But with that being said, I still didn't expect the Giants to dominate them the way that they did. But here it is again, Ryan. The Cowboys could not convert on third down, and they also had costly penalties. So even with their, even benching their starters, I mean, the cynic in me would look at, if your starters can do that just as good as your second stringers, why not let them play? Because at least you have a little bit more talent. But it was a surprising outcome. I mean, Tyrone Tracy, we'll have to wonder with his status, because obviously they want Cam Scattaboo to be the starter, as they should. He's young. He showed promise with Jackson Dart. Those two had chemistry together, but Tyrone Tracy had himself a heck of a game. And you have to see if he'll be able to parlay that into perhaps a lucrative contract to be the starter somewhere else, or what happens. It's going to be interesting, but that was a shocking outcome to me yesterday, because Joe Milton has looked good at points for the Cowboys. And if you stack up the Cowboys roster next to the Giants, I would say offensively, they still have some more talent at the skilled position, because the Giants have dealt with injuries and things this year. But I thought it would be, because Giants and Cowboys games, no matter what, always seem to be like these wacky competitive affairs. I did not expect the Giants to come out and just put it on the Cowboys the way they did. No. But candidly, I was also eating chicken parm while watching that game on mute. Shout out to you, Katie, for the chicken parm. It was very good.
Where's my invite?
Yeah.
Actually, it's a true story. Well, I went down to my local watering hole, the factory, which I'll be there tomorrow night for trivia, by the way. I voluntarily streamed. We had a Giants fan and we had a Cowboys fan sitting a couple of seats down from me.
Oh, and man.
For some reason, I don't know, with DirecTV, like when they had their dispute with Fox, like they still can't get Fox games. It's so stupid with this loophole. So I was the hero of the day. I have the Fubo app on my phone, and I can stream the game, the Giants Cowboys game, on the local Fox affiliate to one of the televisions.
Oh, nice.
And I had a beer bought for me. So
that's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah.
I gotta go down. I gotta get up there at some point and watch a game with you. At this point, probably next season, unless we do it in the playoffs. But spoiler alert for you, Ryan, you'll be getting an invite for this Sunday. Breaking news.
Wait, where is it? There it is. Breaking news. No credentials required.
I'm hosting Wild Card Weekend at my house with the football bros. Won't be Saturday this time. I have plans for Saturday, so I'm not gonna be able to. But Sunday we got 3 games anyway. You know. So,
yeah. And what sucks is that one of those Saturday games is gonna be on Prime.
Yeah, which I do have Prime, but
but the point is,
yes,
NFL,
it should be for everybody. Yes,
for your fans. Come on.
No.
All right, moving on. Speaking of disappointments, our biggest disappointments of Week 18. I'm gonna have you lead off here, Dustin.
Oh, I feel like a broken record again, but it's the Ravens. And here's where I said that I would not be talking about, people want to do all these stupid things that they're doing to Tyler Loop because he missed the field goal. Did he miss the field goal? Yes, but he's not even the only kicker in that game who missed anything. But here's what it is. Here's why I'm calling the Ravens to task yet again. Lamar, you didn't have a good game until the fourth quarter where you all of a sudden decided to wake up. You were 4 for 8 with an interception and a touchdown. He did have that touchdown, that opening touchdown, but his throwing percentage not good at all. And also, they barely were passing the ball. But it just confounds me because for so long, and you could say the same about the Steelers too, but I'm not taking them to task right now because I think some of their issue is Arthur Smith's play calling. But the Ravens defense was known as a stalwart unit for a long, long, long time. And their defensive identity is gone, Ryan. There's rumors that a coordinator change is going to happen in Baltimore at the coordinator level, but we don't know what side yet. And I argued to you briefly today in our Discord that it should be on the defensive level because I'm not saying this as a Seahawks fan because Mike McDonald is now roaming the Seahawks sideline. That's partially it. But if you go back and you watch this Steelers-Ravens game, some of the long runs by Jaylen Warren broke so many tackles, and there were so many tackles that were missed that I was just saying, where are these Ravens? Where is this vaunted Ravens defense that has been so good for so long? Now, Tirico and Collinsworth made a lot about, they're missing one of their big playmakers. That's true, but I'm going to talk about another team that was missing some playmakers for a game against the 49ers, and they still manage. It's a next man up league. I'm sorry, but that's the mentality. And broken tackles, missed tackles are a thing that happens, and broken tackles, but I just saw there was a run by Warren where I saw 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 Ravens just miss Warren or get the tackle broken by him. And it wasn't just one time that it happened. It was multiple times in that game, and there were blown assignments by both defenses in that game. Zay Flowers was as open as anybody. Chris Collinsworth drew with the telestrator a big rectangle, and he said, that is as open as I've seen. And you can say what you want about Chris Collinsworth and his love for Patrick Mahomes, but he did play receiver in the NFL, and he is a Hall of Famer if memory serves. So he knows a thing or two about the position, whether you like the way he comments and analyzes games or not. But I mean, this Ravens defense, it just didn't look. It looked the same. I mean, Freiermuth was wide open on some of these touchdowns, and offensively. Yes, they used Derrick Henry, and yes, Zay Flowers woke up for this game, and Isaiah Likely made a great catch in the fourth quarter. But before that, there was a Steeler team that looked perhaps even more listless on offense than you did. So there was opportunities aplenty, but it's not just Tyler Loop's foot. If Lamar Jackson had played a better game and not decided to wake up in the fourth quarter, if the Ravens defense had made better tackles and just wrapped people up more, maybe the outcome would have been different. You can't put the blame on this one all on Mr. Tyler Loop.
A couple of comments in the comment section before I get to my biggest disappointment. Your cohort from Seahawks session says, allow me to be at my pedestal, good sir. No! You're on your own show. Just as much as required. Everybody's on the same level. Really saying Tirico is a tool. Always that guy.
Oh man.
Oh, goodness. It was a bigger of a show. My biggest disappointment of week 18, the San Francisco 49ers. And I know my co-host and other people had a lot to say on Seahawks sessions, which you can watch Seahawks sessions on the Time to BS YouTube channel. You're welcome, Dan. How disappointed must you be as a 49ers fan following this game? And I noted during the game on Twitter, which you can follow me personally at who is Ryan MCC on Twitter. I'm funny. I'm on Twitter. I noted that the Seahawks had 3 drives, and the first 3 drives for the Seahawks, and they only scored 7 points.
Yep.
They missed an opportunity inside the 5-yard line on the first drive. They scored a touchdown on the second drive. They missed a field goal on the third drive. And I said, you cannot leave points off the board against a Kyle Shanahan team. You cannot. But the Niners were repeatedly stifled by because of a masterful game plan from the Seahawks and Mike McDonald. Brock Purdy threw for only 127 yards. He was sacked 3 times and hit 3 times. And as a result, suffered a stinger in his left shoulder. But it looks like he'll still play against Philadelphia this coming Sunday. The Seahawks pass rushed, harassed Purdy. And their run defense, they limited Christian McCaffrey. He only had 23 yards rushing. Got to give full credit to the Niners defense, though, headed by former Jets head coach Robert Saleh. A lot of former Jets doing good across the league this week and throughout the season. They did their job against the Seahawks offense. They only allowed 1 touchdown, 2 field goals. But the offensive output for the Niners was a huge disappointment. And in a way, they kind of got exposed because I looked at the stats. Christian McCaffrey not only leads the team in rushing, but he also leads the team in receiving.
Yeah.
They're one-dimensional, and that one dimension is Christian McCaffrey. Although you could say two-dimensional if you're counting Brock Purdy. But that loss and the Rams win over Arizona, that'll send the Niners on the road rather than potentially being home for the entirety of the playoffs, including the Super Bowl. Because whoever won this game, they were going to get the 1 seed in the NFC. So congratulations to the Seahawks. Too bad, so sad for the Niners. But they still have the 6th seed. They still have an opportunity to do some damage in the playoffs. And we'll talk about that on Saturday's show. But if I'm a 49ers fan, I'm a little disappointed. I would be a little disappointed, especially after Saturday night. But again, you can catch all Dustin's thoughts on the Seahawks game on Seahawks Sessions and the Time to BS YouTube channel. All right, we're going to take our network mandated commercial break. And this episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by one of our affiliate sponsors, and that is Royal Retros. Remember when jerseys were bold, mustaches were glorious, and shorts were way too short? Good news, you can bring all that retro magic back, minus the chafing, with Royal Retros. They've got vintage style football, baseball, basketball, and hockey gear that screams, I was born in the wrong era, but I look amazing. Rock a jersey, a t-shirt, or a sweatshirt that makes people say, wait, isn't that from insert decade here? Yes, it is. And you look fantastic. Head over to royalretros.com. Use promo code CREDHEAD at checkout, spelled CREDHEAD, and you save 10% off your order. That's CREDHEAD, like a fan of our show with excellent taste in throwbacks. Not only do I have to mention there's 10% off your order, but every order over $100 gets free shipping. So again, royalretros.com. Use promo code CREDHEAD at checkout. You get 10% off your order. Royal Retros, the king of throwbacks. Thank you for being an affiliate sponsor of this show. Oh, I forgot to put the scroll on the screen. So here, royalretros.com. 10%
CREDHEAD. And
yes.
I will be using it because, spoiler, everybody, I have to buy Ryan a jersey, which we will get that sorted this Sunday, sir. I'll
let you know what I finally decided on which merchandise you can purchase for me.
And hey, take some time if you want to peruse, because they got a lot of good options over there.
I've boiled it down to 1 or 2 or 3, but I'll make
right.
my final decision on Sunday. Speaking of peak performers, let's talk about peak performers in Week 18. And I'm going to start off with mine. That would be Mr. Matthew Stafford, quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams. He played in this game because, again, seeding matters. Seeding matters. And also, if you want to argue, MVP voting matters. He went 25 of 40 for 259 yards, threw 4 touchdowns. He could have taken himself out of the game because the Rams had already secured their playoff spot. But they needed to win to secure the 5 seed, which they did in this game handily against the Arizona Cardinals, who are the dregs of the NFC West.
Yeah.
We'll talk about them a little bit more in just a moment. But the big question after this game for Matthew Stafford, did he do enough to clinch league MVP? Because the discussion on social media for league MVP comes down to 2 fan bases. The highly entitled Patriots fan and their boy Drake May, or an ultra-sensitive, ultra-whiny Rams fan base who, if Matthew Stafford doesn't win the MVP, they will have a crying fit that will set off the San Andreas fault and probably separate California from the rest of the country, which we're better off, by the way.
Also, excluding you, playmaker. If you're
excluding you, playmaker, but he's in Florida. To be fair, he's in Florida. I also get to give congratulations to Myles Garrett, who set the record with his 23rd sack of the season. Again, lots of discussions about whether or not this should be the true record because it was done in 17 games. Let's do this. All right. So what about every record in the up to the 1970s when it went to a 16-game schedule, when it was 14 games? Do we have this discussion back in the 1970s when records were set in 16 games rather than 14? We also talked about a couple weeks ago with Reggie White. He had 21 sacks in 12 games in 1987. Doesn't get any credit for that.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna, all this semantics is just clickbait. Come on. You set the record. The record's been set. The record's been broken. Myles Garrett is the new sack champion for the regular season. End of debate. Dustin, who was your peak performer in Week 18?
Well, man, I just have to say it. I'm gonna take a little bit of time. I've been keeping it in check because I got to say a lot on the Seahawks Sessions post-game show.
Do I have to press a button?
You could press the button.
Homer alert! There it is.
Because I'm calling out the entire Seahawk defense to limit an offense that previously was averaging 35 points a game to 3 points, which you laid it out, Ryan. You laid it out beautifully. Okay. It was a little bit of the Niners offensively, shooting themselves in the foot. And if the Niners had played a little bit better, then the Seahawks would have been in trouble because they got the running game going in that game, which was a pleasant surprise to me. So shout out to the Seahawks offensive line because the holes that they were opening were shocking. And also see what happens, Clint Kubiak and Mike McDonald, when you allow Kenneth Walker to run downhill as well. He could do some things, but man, the defense, I am starting to get an irrational faith in this defense. Dan, Kevin, and I were talking. This is a Seattle defense that harkens back to another great defense. We have not seen a defense since that historic defense, since the Legion of Boom. But this defense is carving out their own path. And here's where I'm talking about Baltimore Ravens, because yes, Mike McDonald is a defensive mastermind. I have seen enough from him in 2 years and what he has done with this defense to revamp it. He turned it from a defense that ranked in the 20s in the final year of Pete Carroll. A lot of those players were still on the team. They're a top 5 defense now. It's been quite a turnaround, but got to give a shout out. They've also made strategic signings. The Ernest Jones trade is one of the better trades in recent memory for the Seahawks. He has stepped into a leadership role. He is one of the leaders and best players on the defense. The Dexter Lawrence signing, or the DeMarcus Lawrence signing from Dallas, DeMarcus has been amazing with pressures this season and big plays. And I'd like to shout it out. The Seahawks defense has dealt with some injuries. They're starting to get healthy again. But Ty Okada, who had a huge play in this game because he deflected that Brock Purdy pass, which was then picked off. Ty Okada has stepped in and filled in well. Drake May, a bunch of guys, or not Drake May, Derek Thomas. Sorry, I'm getting all crossed up, but I just want to take this opportunity. What a defensive performance. Now, you limit Christian McCaffrey to 23 yards rushing in this game, and you are correct, Ryan. Christian is basically a receiver out of the backfield because the Niners, they've done a great job dealing with injuries, but I don't think when they played the Seahawks in week 1, the defense wasn't clicking the way that they are now. This defense is something special, and I think the rest of the league is going to figure it out if they haven't already. So I just have to doff my cap for holding the Niners to 3 points. Allow me a polite gloat a little bit.
All right, you get only one, possibly two if they win the Super Bowl.
Oh, geez.
Regarding the MVP race, Julie says, "Wow, this truly is a lose-lose situation." Again, entitled Pats fans versus uber-sensitive Rams fan. It is a lose-lose situation, and I will laugh. I will laugh my head off if this happens for MVP. Myles Garrett wins MVP.
Oh man, that would be would be something.
Oh man.
Jeez.
The bleeding from both sides and the weeping and gnashing of teeth would be chef's kiss. All right, we got to talk about our biggest takeaways from week 18. I've got a lengthy takeaway, Dustin. So I'm going to let you start because I got a lot to say about this New York Jets team.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to let you
and give your no, please go. You go first.
Yeah, I will go first. I mean, I don't have as much to say as you, but I got a little bit to say myself, and it's probably not the first time this has been brought up, but in my opinion, it shouldn't be the last. Okay, we're going to get in to some of the coaches that got let go today. But here's the thing. Pete Carroll was justifiably, I'm not going to sit here and say that it was not a firing that should have happened. Pete Carroll was let go by the Raiders after one season. But I'm going to come off as a curmudgeon. But here's the thing. Reports have indicated that Tom Brady, who has an ownership stake in the Raiders, everybody knows this by now, will be quote unquote heavily involved and extremely hands-on with the coaching search, which this leads me to ask two things. One, why does GM John Spytek have a job? Because also one of the other criterias that they are reportedly looking for in a head coach, their next head coach, is that they have to be content with Brady's hands-on role as part of the ownership group. He's apparently going to be very, very involved in team decisions. Okay, which, hey, we all like to come at Jerry Jones for the way that he runs the Cowboys. And, he comes on the show. He tries to defend himself. Doesn't work. But
Tom Brady. I'm taking exception to that. I'm going to ask you for your bosses that belly up to fire your ass. That was out of line, sir.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Why are we going to allow Brady an exception for being this hands-on because he's a quarterback and he played the game? Yes, we are. But with that, point number two, how is his ownership stake in the Raiders not a conflict of interest with his current job as a commentator/analyst on Fox? He goes in and he does pre-production interviews with teams, and he knows the injury information. He knows certain things. Now, to my knowledge, I don't think he's covered a Raiders game because that would just be asking for it. But here's the thing. He can see all the opponents play each week and running actual plays from his box doing commentary in the stadium, and he understands terminology and plays from his extensive time playing quarterback and his extensive he's the greatest quarterback to play the game. You think he can't figure out what a defense is doing and what they're running? And if he does like a Chiefs game, you think he's not going to go to the Raiders and say, hey, this is what they're running. This is what they're doing. I got a problem with this.
Well, you know what it is. It's rules for him, but but there's also rules for everybody else.
Yes.
Like when you reach a certain level of you attain a certain level of status in the and it doesn't matter what league, NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, it's rules for them, but there's also rules for everybody else.
Yeah.
It's the Brady effect. It's like the Jordan rules. Like Jordan rules, again, Jordan rules, the Kobe rules, LeBron rules, but there's different rules for everybody else compared to the superstars. That's just the way it is.
I mean, you're not wrong, but this to me, I mean, and if I'm a coach, I don't want any part of it, because it's clear that I'm not going to have any, Brady's going to supersede whatever decision I try to make or whatever imprint I try to put on the roster. I mean, and John Spytek, he got retained. Hooray for him. But what team is he going to be able to build?
Don't know. Julie's saying we need some merch with tears of Rams fan and tears of Patriot fan. And your Uncle Al chiming in, Jerry Jones, the greatest GM in NFL history.
Oh, he says Jerry Jones, he wants Jerry Jones to run the Cowboys forever.
Be running him from the he's gonna have one of those like heads from Futurama from the team.
Not to worry, Al. I have a contingency plan wherein I will occupy Steven's body and I'll put my head on it. It will be Jones 2.0.
All right, my biggest takeaway from week 18. Again, there's a reason why I'm wearing my. Yes, I know I'm still suffering. I'm a long-suffering Jets fan. I won this jersey in a raffle. Thank you, Jake Asman. I got a New York Jets throwback uniform with one of my favorite modern New York Jets, Nick Mangold, rest in peace. I got his name and number on his jersey, so that's why I'm wearing it on the show tonight. But I have to talk about the Jets. I usually say this for Just Embrace the Suffering. Maybe I'll have to get my co-host Dan talk about the last part of the season, because we just haven't been able to do episodes. I'm not sure if he's checked out. If he has, I don't blame him, because I've kind of checked out myself. But I have to talk about this. Very historically bad season. How does Woody Johnson justify keeping Aaron Glenn? When Glenn was asked on Friday about the positives the Jets have had this season, the only thing he could come up with was the special teams play. It's like, well, we don't have nobody's blocked any field goals on us this year. And I'm like, that's it? That's the only positive you have? And that credit should go to Chris Banjo, the special teams coach, because this special teams team group is the best unit on this team. Offense is terrible, with the exception of the offensive line. Defense is terrible. That's got to be rebuilt. But like that was the only thing you could point to, was the special teams play. And I just want to look at some of the numbers, and I'm being kind when I use this description. The numbers from this checkered season, okay? Garrett Wilson has not played a snap since week 11, and he still finished first on the team in receiving with 369 yards receiving. Do you know who the next leader of his team, with the next amount of yards? Chigo Okonkwo from the Titans has 560 yards. He led the Titans with 560 yards receiving. Man. Garrett Wilson had less receiving yards than him, and he hasn't played since week 11.
Wow.
Per Rich Cimini of ESPN and ESPN Research, the Jets offense, when they were on the field, they trailed 53.1% of the snaps in 2025. It's the worst this century. Only the Buccaneers from 2011 and the 2000 Cardinals had worse percentages until the 2025 New York Jets. After the firing of Steve Wilkes, the Jets were outscored 188-54. This is the last 5 weeks of the season. Actually, this is just, yeah. I mean, I have to look back. Actually, he was still with the team when they had the worst 5 weeks to end the season. They were outscored by 20 plus points 5 times in 5 consecutive games. That's the most in NFL history. In those 5 games, and then Steve Wilkes was fired after the Jaguars game. Let's be fair here. The halftime scores of those games were 24-7, 31-10, 9-6. That's when they played the Saints. Let's be fair. 35-3 and 21-0. So they were down at least 3 scores, with the exception of 1 in those 5 consecutive games. The Jets also became the first team since 1933 when the statistic was first tracked that a team did not record an interception. And probably the worst thing of all this season was before the season even began, when Aaron Glenn, in his first edict as head coach, told Aaron Rodgers to go kick rocks. And he willingly gave Justin Fields $30 million guaranteed. Where are they now? Aaron Rodgers is going to the playoffs. Justin Fields did not even finish the season. I know the players have his back, but as a fan, I don't trust Aaron Glenn as head coach. And on social media, I mean, my guy, Jake Asmans, he's asking people, name one good thing that Aaron Glenn has done this season, other than galvanize his players. And I don't trust him as head coach right now. I would love for him to prove me wrong next season. I don't trust him next season, though. I have my doubts. I thought this season, I thought they go 7-10. I thought the first year bump for a head coach would work. It didn't for this team. It did not. Oh, and Woody Johnson also had the audacity to raise season ticket prices for next year. They're only playing 8 home games. Again, tell me why I'm a Jets fan again. Like, why should I continue to follow this team when ownership continually spits in the faces of fans, when coaches are ineffective, and when these regimes that come in, they promise us a lot and they deliver on little? Why am I still a fan of this team? Why? Tell me why. Man. Tell me why. I had to laugh from keep from crying.
I mean, that's the thing. The tone deafness. I don't even know if you can call it tone deafness, but you'd think as Jets ownership, you think Woody Johnson would look at it and be like, "Hey, our fans have dealt with a lot. Our fans we haven't put a great product on the field. Let's do something, even if it's like free beer and hot dog day." I mean, they'll never do that with the beers. It would be bedlam. People would be hammered.
$2 beers.
But yeah, like everybody that goes gets a free hot dog, just something. But no, all he can come up with, oh, you got to pay more. You got to pay more to watch this. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I don't know, Ryan. Now I've noticed it's too early for me to call this, and I don't have the knowledge about Aaron Glenn that you do, because I didn't watch him play at nearly as much as you did. I remember him as a player, but early in his coaching career, it seems that he may be one of those people who is very good as a coordinator and maybe a bit in over his head as a head coach.
Well, it's interesting. I remember watching a Jake Asman episode or live stream, and a Detroit Lions podcaster came on and was talking about how bad a coordinator Aaron Glenn was.
Oh, wow.
Even with all the injuries the Lions had last year, like, he was so stubborn in how he called plays and he wouldn't make adjustments. And basically the only reason why I have a feeling he got hired wasn't because of his coaching, is the fact that he was a former Jet. And he made it all the way up from scout to assistant coach to now head coach, to a coordinator, and now a head coach. It's like, you can't be a head coach based on what happened in the past. And yes, Aaron Glenn was a former Jets great, former first round pick, made it through the Rich Kotite years and blossomed under Bill Parcells. And the Jets left him unprotected in the expansion draft when the Houston Texans came to be in the league, and the Houston Texans snatched him right up and became a key member of that defense, especially in the early days. But you can't hire a coach based on the fact that he was a legend for this team when he was a player, because not all players are going to be good coaches. Look at hockey. Wayne Gretzky, the greatest hockey player of all time.
Yeah.
Wasn't a good head coach with the Arizona Coyotes. Maurice Richard the greatest goal scorer of his generation, tried being a head coach, and he resigned after I think 10 games.
Yeah.
So not all players are going to be good head coaches. And Aaron Glenn is an example of this. And I'm just very surprised that the Jets, even Adam Schefter laughed after reporting this yesterday on the NFL pregame show for ESPN, where he basically reported that Aaron Glenn's job was safe, and he chuckled. Basically chuckled, tried to get it out while stifling a laugh, and he couldn't contain his laughter because he knows how bad this team was under him. And again, other than the coordinator hiring Chris Banjo as a special teams coordinator, I can't name one positive thing he did this season for this team. And I don't think there are a lot of Aaron Glenn truthers out there who are disagreeing, but I think they have the green colored shades on because of the fact that he played for this team along 3 decades ago. You gotta let that go. You gotta let that go.
Yeah. I mean, and another example that I had almost forgotten about, and D. Willie's not going to be happy when he watches us back. But do you remember, Ryan, when the then Redskins, now Commanders, they hired Jim Zorn as their head coach, and his only previous experience was a QB coach as for the Seahawks. And I mean, I love Jim Zorn. I never got to see him play, but he's the first quarterback in Seahawks history. Every Seahawk fan loved Zorn. But go back and look how that head coaching tenure went. It wasn't good. Wasn't good. And I don't know. It seems to me, and I mean, you laid it out beautifully, but it seems to me Aaron Glenn is in over his head.
And I agree with you. I think with Pete Carroll, I love Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll. I've loved him since he was with the Jets. He was head coach in '94, got royally screwed by Leon Hess, who brought in Rich Kotite. Puh. We saw those 2 years when, but I love Pete Carroll, but I think his best coaching days are behind him. Honestly, I think his methods are fossilized. He could put together a great defense, but offensively, he's not. He's not the guy. Comments from the comments section here. Julie saying, I feel the same way, but the refs, honestly, they've made game-altering calls that have impacted the outcome of games, and I don't think they should go unchecked. Uncle Al saying, changing coaches is a lot easier than changing owners. Yeah, somebody please step up and buy the Jets for like $10 billion, please. Your uncle saying it's the Wade Phillips effect, what I was describing. Julie coming to the defense of AG, saying, yes, Aaron Glenn had his issues with the Lions, but I personally think he did all right given all the injuries the Lions had on defense last year. Although I agree it's way different being a coordinator versus a head coach. It's just too big of a jump for some, and it appears that he's just over his head. Yeah, that's what it basically is. He's over his head. Again, the only good hire that he made was Chris Banjo as special teams coordinator, and he's done a tremendous job. Isaiah Williams came back from being cut and had 3 returns for touchdowns this season. The signing of Nick Folk was a great thing, and picking up Austin McNamara as an undrafted rookie, that turned out to be great because he was second in the league in punts inside the 20. So those are the special teams has been fantastic, but the other position they got a lot of evaluating to do. And your uncle is saying Wade Phillips was a great defensive coordinator wherever he went, was hired as a head coach more than once. As a result, it never worked. Yeah, I think he was coach for the Broncos And
Bills
I
and
the Bills.
Dallas.
Okay.
He was coach for the Bills because remember it was that season where it was like Rob Johnson versus Doug Flutie.
Oh God, I
And
remember that.
and then you got and then
Yes.
he was the coach for the Cowboys for a few seasons. I can't remember, but I think you're right, Ryan. I want to say the Broncos gave him a shot at some point. I can't remember. There's some other
It was
team that
after
we're
Dan
forgetting.
Reeves. Let's
Okay.
take a look. Let's do the real-time research here for Wade Phillips. Yes, Wade Phillips known for that mistake that he made in the 1997 playoffs where he played Rob Johnson in the final game and he decided, yeah, I'm going to play him in the playoffs, and they lost.
Yes. Yes.
So head coaching gigs include the Denver Broncos, 93 and 94. That was after Dan Reeves was fired. He was defensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints and also the interim head coach in 1985 at the end of that season. Buffalo Bills head coach, interim head coach for the Atlanta Falcons, Dallas Cowboys head coach from 2007 to 2010. And the last two head coaching jobs he's had are in the XFL and the UFL with the Houston Roughnecks and the San Antonio Brahmas, respectively. So, yeah, he was head coach for quite a while in the NFL. All right, we got a little bit more to get to. We got 2 more segments left, and then we're going to get out of here. Let's talk about. Actually, let me see what the rundown says. Actually, let's talk about Monday, about Black Monday, or as we call it sometimes, Monday, Bloody Monday. Black Monday started off early. Actually, started off last night when we found out the Atlanta Falcons relieved not only head coach Raheem Morris, but also relieved Terry Fontenot from his general manager duties. Now, Rich McKay, who's been there for a long time, he was a team president. He's been moved to a different role. And it's rumored that they're going to peg Matt Ryan, former Atlanta Falcons great, to be the next team president. We don't really know for sure. Stacey Morgan from the Morgan Man Sports Podcast, he did a Spaces today. I got to listen to that a little bit. I got to listen to that after the show. He had some insight on what he thinks will happen with the Atlanta Falcons going forward. But Black Monday started last night. It started last night with those two decisions. Then we get to today. Browns fire head coach Steven Stefanski, but they retain Andrew Berry.
This one.
Why?
Yeah. Come on.
Then after that, we found out the Cincinnati Bengals were retaining head coach Zach Taylor and director of player personnel Duke Tobin. Why are we retaining Duke Tobin? He's the one who signed those huge contracts for Jamar Chase and for T. Higgins, but left his offensive line to rot. Then we find out the Raiders, as mentioned the biggest takeaway by Dustin, Raiders fired Pete Carroll. This was before owner Mark Davis had his lunch at PF Chang's. And then the last one, at least for today, let's see what happens the rest of the week. Arizona Cardinals, they fired head coach Jonathan Gannon. Cardinals started 2-0, then proceeded to lose 14 out of their last 15 games for the rest of the season. Yes. Justifiable in my point of view.
Yeah. And I mean, Jonathan Gannon's been there a few seasons now, and I've always been of the mind that he is a good coach. I thought the Cardinals played hard for him most of the time. But defense is his calling card, and the the Arizona defense, was woeful this year. So when you're a defensive-minded head coach and you can't field a competent defense, it's going to be hard for you. And the gavel came for Mr. Gannon. And Pete Carroll, Dan's been very vocal. He was in the chat earlier, but one of the things that you cannot deny, George Kittle came out in the preseason and he said, Pete Carroll's defensive scheme for the Raiders looks like the 2015 Seahawks. So, when you're not changing things up, it's going to be hard for you. And I was astonished on Seahawks sessions, Pete Carroll, I saw a clip of what would be his final press conference as Raiders head coach. And we both know how positive Pete Carroll always is, sometimes blindly so, Ryan. He was asked about the state of the team, and he said, well, I didn't think it would be like this. It's looking like we're going to have to oversee a rebuild. I really thought I'd be able to turn this thing around quickly. And he said, well, what were the positive things? Similar that somebody asked Aaron Glenn, and he said, well, I think the win over the Patriots was very big for us. If you look at their team right now, that was a monumental win for us, big upset. But then he said something that shocked me. He said, I think we were lucky to tie the Seattle in the preseason. That Pete Carroll played a lot of his starters that game. And for him to say that he thinks they're lucky to tie the Seahawks, Pete doesn't say stuff like that. That shocked me. That shocked me.
Yeah. That to tell you how the season was going to be. Your uncle saying, I believe the Bengals are the only team that lost to the Jets that hadn't fired their head coach. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Raheem Morris is gone. Kevin Stefanski's gone. I wouldn't mind seeing either Jonathan Gannon or Raheem Morris as defensive coordinator of the New York Jets, honestly. But from what I understand, Raheem Morris is being interviewed is going to be interviewed by 3 teams. It's going to be interviewed by Tennessee. I think it said the Browns are going to interview him too.
Okay.
I think I'll double check. I may be wrong, but it seems like he's becoming a head coach. He's becoming a head coaching candidate, and I can't blame. In a way, I can't blame the Falcons for firing him.
Yeah,
he put together a great defense. That offense looked like they're going to be a stellar offense this year. Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts finally started to come out of his shell, but that was only after Michael Penix suffered his torn ACL and Kirk Cousins took over. They had a great end of the season. Like they were out of the playoff picture, but they wound up winning, I think, the last 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, their last 4. And that was the one, like you said, you can't blame the Falcons for moving on from Raheem, but those players were playing like they wanted him to remain head coach. I mean, you can't deny the way they finished the season. They had some they upset the Rams, everybody. You know,
they beat the Rams, they beat the Buccaneers on Thursday night.
Yep. They beat the Bills that Monday night earlier in the season. Yeah.
They did in October. Wonka saying that it was a mistake for Zach Taylor to remain the head coach of the Bengals. And Julie saying the Titans are interviewing Raheem Morris, so he might not be out of a job for long. Yeah, I think he's going to be a hot coaching candidate, head coaching candidate. I think a lot of teams that are looking for defensive coordinators are going to be looking for him as well. Yeah. And again, and your Uncle Al saying, yes, NFC South, the only division winner with a losing record. Yeah, and it's interesting. There was a social media post by NFL researcher on Twitter saying that the Panthers of 2025 had a minus 69 point differential this season. They were 23rd in the NFL. The only playoff teams with a lower point differential: the 2004 Rams, the 2011 Broncos, and your 2010 Seahawks.
I knew they'd
all
be out there.
3 of those teams won the wild card, including the Marshawn Lynch infamous the Beast Run.
Oh yeah, of course, the Beast Quake. Yeah,
and he's also dropping this knowledge. The NFC North, the only division with a last place team with a winning record. Yeah, I think this is the first or second time in history that all 4 teams in the same division finished with a record over 500. Because the Vikings finished, they finished winning 5 in a row. They went up 9-8. And Wonko saying that I'd take Stefanski or Kubiak over Taylor and Cincy. They need new blood. You know what? They also need new blood, both ownership, because Mike Brown is terrible.
Yeah, Mike Brown's cheap, everybody.
Yeah. All right, we're going to conclude our episode with the final installment. The results of the Cut the Brakes Pick'em Challenge for Week 18.
Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah! What?
And here are your results for week 18. Dustin needed me to get skunked and him to win all 3 of his games to tie, to send it to sudden death overtime. Well, Dustin got skunked.
Yeah, I stepped right in it, everybody.
And it all started with Carolina's loss on Saturday, which basically sealed it for me. But to add insult to injury, the Bengals lost and the Packers lost. Meanwhile, I would have had a clean sweep if the Raiders hadn't walked off the Chiefs. But I did have the Bills beating the Jets, which was a gimme. And I had to spite Dustin. I had the Browns winning. So I earned 3 out of a possible 4 points, which brings my total to 38, and Dustin remains at 31, which means I am your winner of this season's Cut the Breaks Pick'em Challenge, which is presented by our title sponsor of this episode, or not title episode, the affiliate sponsor for this episode, which is Royal Retros, the king of throwbacks. Again, you save 10% off your order with promo code CREDHEAD at checkout, and you get a free shipping with every order of $100 or more. So Dustin will be definitely using that promo code when he's buying me my jersey, which I still have to decide what to get. But yes, that's our first Cut the Breaks Pick'em Challenge. And Wonko saying, quick memory check. My Cut the Breaks Challenge finished far behind Dustin.
Well, I struggled with this one.
So that is the conclusion of the 2025 season for the Cut the Breaks Pick'em Challenge.
Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah! What?
All right, that's going to do it for this installment of No Credentials Required. We just want to remind you again to follow us on social media. Follow us on these social platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You can also check out our other podcasts and written content at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, listen to the podcast and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and our host, Podbean, Freshly Brewed Podcasts. Hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube so you know when the shows go live, when there are general show announcements, or when there are clips that go up on our YouTube channel. Wonko saying, thank you all. Great show. See you in the playoffs. Go Hawks!
There we go.
I think I'm picking the Seahawks to. I'm gonna pick the Seahawks as my spirit team for this playoffs, because I want Sam Darnold to win. I love Sam Darnold when he was picked. Love that selection when he was drafted. Just too bad Mike McCagnon was incompetent at his job, and Joe Douglas was also incompetent at his job trading Sam Darnold to the freaking Panthers for a bag of chips. But anyway, I just want to see Sam win. I think he deserves it. But that's going to do it for this edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. I will be recording the next installment of the college football playoff, which will be the semifinal with Gaz. That'll be released on YouTube on Thursday, but we'll be back Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We're going to preview the wild card round, make our picks, and maybe we'll have another pick'em challenge.
Ooh, maybe we can.
Hey, we'll talk about it.
Maybe we can, because I'm going to miss that graphic, but I won't. In that element, but I won't miss making picks, because clearly.
All right, so no challenge then.
No, we can do a challenge. We'll do a playoff pick'em challenge. But
I was going to say double or nothing, but nah. That's all right.
No double or nothing. You've earned your jersey. You've earned your jersey. I will pay up, but we can come up with something else.
All right, we'll figure out something. But that's good. But Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, we'll talk about the wild card round. We'll make some picks and we'll do something else fun. But in the meantime, thank you again for joining us in No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Again, college football semifinal preview on the YouTube side, Thursday morning, 8 a.m. They'll be dropped. And then live show Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, talking about the wild card. We'll be back on Saturday. Have a great week, everyone. And we'll be back live Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern for everything wild card. So have yourselves a great Monday. Enjoy the rest of the week and be safe. We'll see you on Saturday.
Same cred time, same cred channel. Good night, everybody.